welcome into the Dawning Soul. Oh, today is spooky theme day. The Spider and the Fly. This was one of my favorite poems as a child. I absolutely was fascinated with it. Let's put it that way. I'm going to read it really quickly for those of you who aren't familiar with the poem. Will you walk into my parlor, said the spider to the fly. 'Tis the prettiest little parlor that you ever did spy. The way into my parlor is up a winding stair, and I have many curious things to show you when you're there. Oh, no, no, said the fly. To ask me is in vain, for who goes up your winding stair can ne'er come down again. I'm sure you must be weary, dear, soaring up so high. Will you rest upon my bed, said the spider to the fly. There are pretty curtains drawn around. The sheets are fine and thin, and if you like to rest a while, I'll snugly tuck you in. Oh, no, no, said the little fly, for I've often heard it said, they never, never wake again who sleep upon your bed. Said the cunning spider to the fly, dear friend, what can I do to prove the warm affection I've always felt for you? I have within my pantry good store of all that's nice. I'm sure you're very welcome. You will please to take a slice. Oh, no, no, said the little fly. Kind sir, this cannot be. I've heard for what's in your pantry, and I do not wish to see. Sweet creature, said the spider, you're witty and you're wise. How handsome are your gauzy wings. How brilliant are your eyes. I have a little looking glass upon my parlor shelf. If you'd step in a moment, dear, you shall behold yourself. I thank you, gentle sir, she said, for what you are pleased to say, and bidding you good morning now. I'll call another day. The spider turned him round about and went into his den, for he knew well the silly fly would soon come back again. So he wove a subtle web in a little corner sly, and set his table ready to dine upon the fly. Then he came out his door again, and merrily did sing, come hither, hither, pretty fly, with the pearl and silver wing. Your robes are green and purple. There's a crest upon your head. Your eyes are like the diamond bright, but mine are as dull as lead. Alas, alas, how very soon this silly little fly, hearing his wily flattering words, came slowly flitting by. With buzzing wings she hung aloft, then nearer and nearer she drew, thinking only of her brilliant eyes and the green and purple hue, thinking only of her crested head. Poor foolish thing, at last. Up jumped the cunning spider and fiercely held her fast. He dragged her up his winding stair into his dismal den within his little parlor, but she never came out again. And now, dear little children, who may this story read, to idle, silly, flattering words, I pray you never heed. Unto an evil counselor, close heart and ear and eye, and take a lesson from this tale of the spider and the fly. Okay. Whew. Yeah, fascinating for a 5-year-old to adore a poem of that dark nature. But I did. Anyways, I've always been drawn to that poem. I feel like we ourselves can be drawn to things that are no damn good for us. And we know it. And we allow people, for whatever purposes, to distract us, to manipulate us, to flatter us, maybe in an unexpected way that nobody has flattered you in that manner before. Maybe it's indirect, maybe it's extremely direct, maybe it's sly and seductive or overt and sexual. There are so many different ways that you can get into trouble, get in too deep, by allowing a situation to move past your reason and move past your temptation or move into temptation. So it's extremely important to not be the silly fly. We have all been there. We've all been the silly fly. And we should not also be the spider. We shouldn't take advantage of people. We shouldn't manipulate people, whether it be in fun or just straight up getting what we want from something. So anyways, we're going to do this little exercise. We have our little fly, and we have our little spider. This one's a little bit jeweled. And we're going to do this reading. I have up here 2 of the alchemy cards. I purposely pulled Pluto and Melanosis, the darkening. The planet Pluto is basically the underworld, death. Let's get there. I want to read these for you. So we're going to set our mood. Pluto's realm is one of deep and undeniable power. Known as the planet of the underworld, Pluto has a captivating effect that pulls us onto its depths, leading to all things excessive. Images of the resurrection, possession, the sacred heart, birth, sex, death, are all symbols of Pluto's volatile energy. When this card shows up, know that everything will be amplified as if through a live wire. It's all about power, and maybe even addiction. Though Pluto's force field can be ruthless, this tiny planet pushes us toward necessary growth. When we follow its mesmerizing pulse, we are taken into the depths to be changed. There's no point in pretending the underworld is not at work. Admit that you're in it and find the support you need. Not making it worse is a big accomplishment. Okay, melanosis. Okay. All right. In alchemy, darkness is an achievement. It indicates the material has been through significant occurrence, sometimes called an initiatory experience, that has brought it into a state of readiness for the work. The darkness prepares us. We've moved beyond the small talk and chit-chat of the upper world and descended into psychic layers of the soul. We admit who we are, fully, bravely, and thus open ourselves to the process of transformation. When this card appears, it's not necessary to delve into what brought you here. The initiation, likely by fire, that has caused the embers to char. Rather, it's time to heal, and darkness is the remedy. Closing your eyes is a voluntary expression of darkening. By practicing it daily, we drop into the depths and surrender. As the alchemist's eye adjusts, transformations begin. Okay. So, We're moving in a circular way with this storyline. So we have the plan is hatched. So Mr. Little Spider sees the fly and decides the fly will be the victim. I had wanted to place some a little Halloween music. All right. And we can find ourselves in these positions at any moment, right? We could be shopping and a salesperson catch us completely unguarded because we don't like to have anything brought to attention. And then you're being flattered and you find yourself purchasing something you don't need. Or you talk to somebody and they flatter you in a way that you haven't heard before, and it intrigues you, and therefore you want to be a little more interested in what's going on in that direction. We have transformation, which is the theme. And as you notice, the butterfly is in chrysalis still, all bound up, transforming. Acclimation, being acclimated to a situation. That is a subtle form of flattery. That old saying, how you can stick a pot of water on the stove and stick a frog in and boil it and kill him that way, but if you stuck him in hot water, he'd jump right out. Acclimating the victim to a specific plan and being creative about it. Transformation, acclimation, and creativity. That's what gets us into trouble. Okay, now, how it affects the fly. All right, we have the element of air, ancient wisdom, the keys of creation, the alchemist, and adventure. So, ancient wisdom. So here we are, the little helpless fly. Ancient wisdom. So clearly she knew. The fly knew the whole time. I shouldn't talk to you. I know what's going to happen. I know what happens in your parlor. I know what happens at your table or your little bed. She knows. She knows damn well not to go, right? We ignore that. That is step number one. Do not ignore your inner voice. Do not ignore your intuition. Listen to yourself. The element of air. Spider's blowing all sorts of air in her direction, spinning it all around and around, telling her all kinds of things that maybe she wants to hear someone say to her, but she should know better. So be wary of people blowing air in your direction. Hot air, right? The keys of creation. She has the keys. She knows. She knows. She has it within her. That's that intuition, that ancient knowledge, right? Don't ignore it. Don't ignore your own inner voice. Don't ignore that. You know when someone's not being genuine. You know. You know. It might be flattering. You might get distracted. And you might think, I'm strong enough to deal with this. I can go on an adventure. I could indulge a little bit. But you know what? In the alchemical process of transformation and death, maybe we have opportunity to go on adventure, but ultimately we have to understand the wisdom inside us, right? We have to understand where we can truly go and when we've reached our limits. Okay, so because the air, that's just a distraction. Dazzling somebody with a beautiful, sparkly rainbow feather, distracting someone, manipulating them. We know we have to listen to ourselves. We have to understand our own good boundaries. We have to understand who we are inside. Because maybe that delicious adventure is where we want to go. Understanding the desire for that, but then pulling it back, listening to ourselves, not allowing our dark impulses to overrule what we need out of our own boundaries, out of our own protection. Okay. Not a flower of vulnerability. Because we are vulnerable when it comes to things like that. We have to protect ourselves not to be. Stability. Because we have to be solid like a mountain, right? We can't be weak. We need to understand our own strength. Stability, our vulnerability is power. We don't have to allow people to take advantage of us. purity. Listening to our intuition, seeing the pretense, the manipulation, the distraction for what it is, and listening to our inner voice. Okay, we have chance, divine guidance, and growth of energy. Take this into the power of our little story here. Plan. How are we going to help this little fly? What does the spider have up his sleeve? Goodness. So we have enchantment. And yes, the spider was practicing his enchantment on her. The wounded healer, the fly, needing to listen to her own intuition. The Fae of friendship. Understanding if somebody is genuine or if they are being manipulative. Releasing, listening to ourselves, releasing the negative impulses, releasing things that do not serve us, people that do not serve us, situations that do not serve us, is progress, right? Learning our own boundaries and not allow people to take advantage of us. This deck is the Sacred Forest. is a powerful archetype in storytelling. All right, let's see here. We have Frog Spirit Renewal. Spirit Guardian Activation, and a maypole. Crystal Cave Trust. Meandering Pathway Flow. All right, so her plan is to listen to herself, because she is wise. She has that ancient wisdom. She knows the truth. It's important to be able to do that. It's important to not be silly, vain, and susceptible to disingenuine company or disingenuine circumstances or places that you know you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be there, you know it. Because you're seeking adventure. You want to experience some fun, but it's important that you also listen to your boundaries, listen to yourself, trust yourself, flow with the divine, flow with that inner knowledge. It's always better to be safe than sorry. That's the one thing that she didn't do in the story, was listen to herself. She went back for more. She walked away the first time. And then she was like, oh, well, it can't be that bad. Genuinely, it's generally that bad. There are those people out there in the world. Don't be naive. Use your inner wisdom. Listen to yourself. You have the key. You have the divine keys of creation, guidance, of change, of energy, flow, stability, purity within you. You are the alchemist. That's what Pluto tells you to do. Be the alchemist. Transform. Transform. Let's see the outcome here. Let's see if we can find. Okay. All right. Okay, contemplation here, right? These are some putting them in order here of how I want you to see them. Okay, we've got advice. Listening to someone's advice. You still have to listen to yourself. People all over the world can give you the best advice. They can also give you the wrong advice. What's important is that you listen to yourself and discern through your soul and your spirit and your divine guidance the truth. Listening to that. You may know the answer is no, or the answer is yes, but you need to know and not act on whim or someone's poor advice. And listen to those that are wise. Listen to the wise voices. Because temptation is always around. Discovery is always around. Adventure is always around. So you need to listen within and heed your own advice. You know you have the keys. You have that wisdom, that purity. It's there. It's within us all. Renew that trust and flow from your soul. We can be like the spider in the good ways. And we can be like the fly in the good ways. We don't have to take each archetype at its worst, right? Manipulative, destructive, death. Flighty, drawn to all the wrong things, right? Drawn to the flame, flies to the flame, right? Flies to the flame. We can soar and be beautiful and dazzling and exotic and have adventure and have that purity of heart and be vulnerable, but still be solid as a rock because we're listening to ourselves. We're discerning. We're trusting ourselves. Listening to our divine nature. And same with the spider, right? The spider weaves his web. It doesn't have to be of deception. A spider weaves his web as his way of life, understanding that, right? And the spider waits patiently for something to get caught in his web. He allows things to come to him. We don't have to take everything in a negative connotation. Let's see here. I release control of my plans to make way for my destiny. All of my emotions are part of my human experience. I listen to the whispers inside my heart. And then we won't end up like the spider, or the fly, right? We want to take the best intentions and turn them into our advantage. Be vulnerable. Yes, but be stable. Have purity of heart. But don't be afraid to be creative and be adventurous. Transform. Use the keys. Be the alchemist. Use your wisdom. Go within. Flow, trust, activate, renewal. Let's see. The Fae of friendship, the wounded healer, enchantment. We can have all of these things in our life. Release the negative, release the toxic, release what no longer serves you, and progress and transform into the butterflies, right? Transformation. I hope you enjoyed this. Happy Halloween, everybody. And I hope you enjoyed the spider and the fly. It's an intriguing little tale and gives us powerful lessons. Thank you for joining me. I'm Melanie Dawn with The Dawning Soul. Happy Halloween. Blessings.